You're listening to Yahala Voice. Yahala Voice.
He's the one, the only, the Baba, joining us. Yahala Voice.
When a recovering Islamophobe talks. This is to pay a compliment, so I've got to convert to Islam, then I've got to go with a satchel of money apparently to Ramallah Jewelers.
Absolutely.
Bob and the friends. Now, all of a sudden, you have Americans and you have Europeans coming in and moving in to Israel on what's called the right of return, where they're given a free right of return. They didn't grow up there. They didn't live there. They didn't live there 20 years ago. Now they live there.
Bob,
and they moved in there from Europe. And they're given the right of return. What happened to the Palestinians that lived there? Yalla Bob, انزل على الدبكة. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an exciting episode of Bob and Friends, where this big wasp steps into the studio for his weekly dose of Islamophobia therapy. Recovering Islamophobia. And sitting in with me today is my dear friend, back from the jungles of Belize, Randa Mahmud. How are you?
Hello.
Yeah. Is that what's happening to your voice when you go down there?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, I first of all, I want to start the show out with an apology to both Randa and everybody in her wedding party. For anybody that's seen the picture of myself with Randa, that was taken just prior to the wedding. And you can see by the picture what a beautiful blushing bride she was. And this is only a few weeks ago, right?
This was a month ago.
All right. But one thing I need to apologize and be completely apologetic for is that you never dropped the F-bomb with MashaAllah. Because you looked so fabulous.
Oh.
You absolutely.
Wow, even I know not to drop the F-bomb with MashaAllah.
I know.
Man. Astaghfirullah al-Azim, ya Rabbi. Now I gotta go do some prayers and I don't ever pray.
It was bad.
Oh,
it was really bad. But I'm telling you, I walked in that doorway and saw you. You were absolutely beautiful. You were
That's
a beautiful
what happens
bride.
when you cake makeup on and put some, stuff in your hair to poof it up and pay people, good people, by the way, to do that.
I'm telling you, it was just beautiful. And what a great day it was. What a fun day it was.
You.
I mean, you and Iman said this, and she might be listening actually she's over in the UK.
From England.
Yes, England. Anyway, she said that you were the absolute boss with Debka because you.
Well, heck yeah, man. You gotta get Debka right. I mean, these people that don't know how to do Debka, I was like, listen, let me teach you how to really do Debka. And so I lifted up the dress and I put on my flats and I did it.
And you had it done right. I mean, you had the guys up there on stage that they just weren't DJs. They had like other band instruments there.
They had a drum and a tabla. So there was one guy that did that. So Outdoor DJ was my DJ and there's three people that go and
you had Johnny there.
Yeah, Johnny is a very good friend of mine actually.
And
so
he's a beast himself.
He's fantastic. I mean, he's very, very well respected with that industry. And very well sought out. John Hanna is the top guy if you want to have tabla at your wedding.
Oh, and he is fun.
He is a very good friend of mine.
And got out there on the floor and led it around. And folks, if you've never been to a wedding in the Arab community, it's a all outright blast.
Yeah, especially a Palestinian wedding.
Oh,
there has to be some politics.
What fun. You were out there dancing with the flag.
Can I just say this?
Debka,
Hold on. Here's the funny thing. So, for everybody that I didn't really post a lot of pictures at my wedding on Facebook just because I haven't gotten them yet, but I'm part of Team Palestine, and so we took a team picture with our medals, and of course Bob was in the picture. And he's like, wait, I gotta go get my flag. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So we're waiting for him, and he comes out with a 7-foot Palestini flag.
That's me.
And I'm like, of all the people on this team, it's the white guy that has the flag.
Absolutely.
We take the pictures, and I just walk into my banquet, because we were outside the banquet hall and outside the reception area. And I walk in and all the Polish people are like, well, that's pretty awesome. And so it was really cool to, have this. And everyone's like, who brought the flag? I'm like, the big white guy that married us. So
I had to.
It was pretty neat.
It was very neat.
It's
and
the Team
Palestine,
flag.
Great showing by them at the wedding. I mean, it really was fabulous. We had a great time in there, and it's great to have you back. You've been missing from the show for a little while, and so it's good to have you back. And we've got a full show today.
Yes, we do.
I mean, start
a lot of things have been going on since I was in the jungle of Belize. It
absolutely.
seems.
Saba Ahmed is going to be calling in here shortly.
We're going to teach you how to say these names right.
Saba
Ahmed. Ahmed. It's cold. Ahmed.
Yeah, you know what? And
I think it's Saba.
S-A-B-A.
S-A-B-A is Saba.
Saba?
You know what? If it's Siba, she will. Khalid here is trying to mess with us here. Saba or Siba?
He throws a little like
you're so mean,
pronunciation
dude.
things.
Haram
Yeah, but he's usually really good with
it's
that.
the holiday season,
But,
and he wants to mess with us.
She's Pakistani American. Does that make a difference with the pronunciation?
It's probably Saba.
Okay,
And that's actually a very common Arab name. There was actually an Arabic grocery store in the city, Lawrence and Kedzie, called Saba Grocery Store. They're owned by the Saba family, who are Jordanian and good friends of mine.
No kidding.
Yeah. See, we all know each other.
Same owners of Saba Hummus?
Sabra? No, that's an Israeli. How dare you?
Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
See, just kidding.
Yeah. You know what? This whole stuff is just going to be popping out of my mouth all day.
Then after Saba, then we're going to go with Kristen Simsky of American Muslims for Palestine. She's going to be calling in.
I'm going to try to pronounce her name
around 4:30.
right.
You're right, because you're
She's
Polish-Tinian now.
Babosku.
Yeah, you know what? You both could be considered somewhat Polish-Tinians.
Shremski.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm so bad at that.
Yeah, she's in there. And then the good solid German, our fellow German friend Kim Ruta.
Prost.
Prost.
I don't know how to say her name. I'm not German.
That. But anyway, Kim's going to join us. Kim is with the Lawndale Christian Legal Center, and she is essentially at ground zero of where things are with Laquan McDonald. She will be calling in on location. She'll be out at 44th and Pulaski at a prayer vigil out there, and checking in with us.
She has a lot to say too. I'm really excited about her coming on.
You know what? It's incredible. She's as angry as you can be for not being African American right in the community. I would say
you don't need to be African American to be as angry. You just got to see what's going on, and she sees it, and that's it. And she works in it, and so she has every right to be. I mean, she sees what we don't.
Yep, you're right. You're right, and that's it. And then that's what she's going to bring to the radio program today.
Yeah.
And then we have Perry Green, who's going to be coming in at probably around 5:00. And Perry's a longtime friend of the show as well, and a very strong social activist, and obviously right in the thick of things here. And so it's one of those things that we've got to realize that things are shaping our community, and you hear people talking out there. And one of the guys is talking just obnoxiously. How about all this junk Trump is saying out there?
Well, this guy's a garbage duty head.
And what worries me is that Trump has actually risen in popularity. As the more bombastic he gets, the more popular he gets.
The guy is telling everybody what America wants to hear, and right now America wants to hear. We should call him the dump Trump. Exactly. We need to call him the dump Trump because he's dumpy.
Well, you know what?
I agree.
And this is one of the things that's happened is that unfortunately there's been this division. And I think at one point in time there was probably a lot of people within the Arab community that were on the Republican side. And to that end, our guest, Saba Ahmed. And I'm saying Ahmed.
Saba Ahmed.
Ahmed. I'm just saying that so wrong.
Ahmed. He doesn't know how to. No, it's so bad.
You know what?
Exactly.
This is what happens when you have a white guy doing an Arab radio program.
This is what
okay?
happens. Honey, can everybody hear you? I hope everybody can hear you.
No. Yeah, there's two Arabs picking on the white guy. Anyway, Saba, how are you? And welcome to the show. Sorry for throwing you into the fray, but welcome.
Hi, Saba.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
She seems tired already.
You know what?
She's like, this tired me out.
Poor thing. She's so shell-shocked. Now, look, I promised you that this would be an absolutely friendly interview, unlike what you've experienced. Now, Saba started the Muslim Republican Coalition. And if I don't, you've started this, about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago?
About a year ago.
About a year ago. And this was because you ran for Congress in 2000, reading your bio, you ran for Congress in 2011 as a Democrat, correct? Out in the state of Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
Oregon.
And then, out in Oregon, and then had an awakening, I guess, and switched over from Democrat to Republican. How come? What did you see there?
Well, during the campaign, I got a lot of candidate questionnaires, and I couldn't identify myself with a lot of the liberal values. And by the end of the campaign, I was pretty much convinced that I supported all the Republican Party platform values, and I just couldn't support myself as a Democrat anymore.
Now, one thing I'll tell you right now is that I voted for Bush both times. Bush 40, both 41 and 43. So I voted
I'm
for
obviously
both
not a
Bushes.
Republican.
I have
Sorry.
voted all the way a Republican until Obama came along. And Randa sitting here, I also have to, under full disclosure, was part of the American Democrat, or the Arab American Democratic
Club, yes.
Club here in Chicago. Very active group here. So.
Well, I voted for Obama in 2008, but I've been very disappointed by his foreign policies and everything. So, I mean, I switched. By 2012, I went to Romney because I just was so disappointed in his leadership. I mean, the hope and change that he had promised us, he didn't bring, and he didn't keep up any of his campaign promises. I mean, he has had very weak leadership, and it kind of also helped drive me away from the Democrats. So.
No kidding. And so you became a Romney supporter. I saw your pictures with actually Newt Gingrich at one point in time, as far as the promotional goes. And then the infamous happened. You went to the Heritage Foundation and ran into the buzzsaw known as Bridget Gabriel. And you went there, and I became a fan of yours after that. Even before everything else broke loose here. But after that happened, because you were, in my opinion, exactly what the Republican coalition has been asking for. You were that voice of reason, and you were there just asking a very simple and an appropriate question. How come there was a group on the stage talking, Frank Gaffney was one of the other ones up there. How come this group at the Heritage Foundation had no Muslim representatives talking on stage? And I thought that was an excellent question.
Thank you. Well, and there wasn't any Muslims in the audience either, so obviously their events tend to have traditionally been closed to Muslims, and I was very surprised that no Muslims go there. And I used to actually read articles from, all the Islamophobia leaders, including Frank Gaffney and Bridget Gabriel and others, and I just went there I was like, okay, great, I'll get the chance to see them in person and find out why they hate us so much.
Right.
And so I went there, and I could sense, like, from the time that I sat down, because I wear the scarf, I was the only Muslim woman in the audience, and I could sense from Bridget, she was, like, boiling up. She didn't want to see any Muslims. Usually their Act for America events are closed to Muslims. They're open to Christian, Jews, anybody but Muslims. So she was obviously getting boiled up. And then when I asked the question, obviously then she went all out and then gave me a good lecture on why she didn't think I was asking the right question or whatever she was expecting.
Oh, and she took off on that. And not only did she take off on it, but do you realize that almost everything that she said was plagiarized from some guy's blog in 2006?
I'm sure. She made up facts. She said a whole bunch of
complete
nonsense.
Fabrication. I mean, you could go back and take it point by point. But what I was so respectful of was the way that you came back and you said, well, I'm here. You know, I'm Muslim. I'm here. And that's the voice that they need. I mean, and they sat there and then bit it off. And then what I didn't get is that then you went, was it the following night or maybe like 2 nights later, you went on with her again onto Sean Hannity.
Mm-hmm.
And they treated you like a hostile witness. It was unsettling to watch how they treated you.
Well, I'm working on Sean Hannity. I went back on his radio show last week, and, he has his own perspective. So, but obviously, that's what we're dealing with. When you talk about Islamophobia, when you talk about what the voice of Muslims and Islam in America, this is what we have to face. And you guys just got a glimpse of that because those went viral and public. But we face that every day here in Washington, D.C., with people who agree with those views. And so it's definitely a challenging environment, but that's what we're trying to change. It's going to take time, but that's exactly why I founded Republican Muslim Coalition, to reach out to conservative elected officials, especially in Congress and in presidential candidates, to change their views on Islam and Muslims, because a lot of them don't actually know a single Muslim. They have framed Islam and radicals as if, it's the other side enemy far, far away. But when they see a real Muslim show up in front of them, they're like, who is this? And they don't know how to react. And you can see that in their responses. And my goal is to hopefully educate all of them on basics of Islam, and they get to know me and a few other Muslims here in D.C. so that they can at least, have a normal conversation and not sound so ignorant.
And that, Saba, is why I'm such a big fan of yours, because I can tell that you're missional in what you're doing. And where we may not align politically, I am 1,000% behind you in that mission. That is absolutely admirable. And you, like I built into it, you are walking into the lion's den, and you're in there in a very calm. You seem like just this nicest, most calm person. You've got people yelling and screaming at you, and you're like, well, look, we go to the mosque to pray, Megan.
Well, that's the other thing, though. You have all these different outlets to speak and to say and to educate. My question is, why is Fox News that platform where Muslims go? For example, Saba, you were on there just recently, and one of the things that got attention from everybody was, even people that don't even watch Fox News, because I certainly don't, but is the American flag that you wore as a hijab. And so my question is, well, why choose Fox News as that platform, considering we know how they react to Muslims, and no matter what, they're going to treat everybody that comes on, or most of everybody that comes on, especially if they're Muslim and they're brown, like garbage, and they're going to sit there and talk to you in a certain way, or they have these type of speeches that they go out at other events and talk about how the Muslim database needs to be implemented. Just like Donald Trump, some of those people agree with him. I mean, unfortunately, it's true. But there's these people where they're finding a way to basically trump us, us being Muslims. And so I'm trying to figure out, what I'm trying to understand is, every time I hear somebody that goes on Fox News, is why Fox News? Of all of the channels, why Fox News? Especially if you're getting dogged at. I mean, what is the benefit of being dogged at as opposed to having dialogue?
Saba, I want to hear your answer, then I've got one for you.
Sure. I think the way you change hearts and minds of people is by engaging in dialogue. You can't shut it off and expect them to change their views. The only way, I just met Megan 2 days ago. She was here in Washington, D.C. She came up to talk about Islam. Like, we had a chat after this session. It's not just I find it quite valuable to reach out to people who disagree with us. I mean, yes, they're bashing Islam, and, she talked about how she herself, if you watched Kelly File, obviously their views on Islam have been very hostile towards Muslims. And so I hope to change those. And the more Muslims that go on it, the more Muslims they interact with, I am hopeful that they will change their perspective. And it will take time, but, one step at a time. We're trying to do what we can. The other networks are obviously, they're very friendly towards Muslims, so I see Muslims on there all the time. And I know they're taken care of by lots of different people. So a lot of people have just stopped going on Fox News. A lot of our major mainstream Muslim organizations don't send representatives to Fox, even when they request people. So for me, I feel like, as a Republican Muslim, I feel like it's an opportunity and a platform to reach out to them. I mean, I can debate them, even though I may get shut down a lot of times, but I do know that it changes hearts and minds. I've gotten so much positive mail after the video last week from people all over the U.S. They were talking about they never knew a Muslim, and then watching me change their perspective, and they softened up a little bit on their views. So obviously, we're not going to change the whole United States overnight, but slowly and consistently, I feel like in the future, we're going to be stepping up our efforts to reach out to all Fox News shows and present that positive voice of Islam and Muslims there, so that we can change their viewers' perspectives and theirs.
Again, I couldn't salute you any more than I do. Three things. The first one is that I firmly believe that in changing the hearts and minds of the American public, which needs to be done, I think the woman has the most powerful voice in that. And that is why you will find Randa at my side. That is why you will find Angie and Iman and all the time I'm trying to promote that woman's voice, because it's so powerful, but it's softer. It's you can send the angry Muslim guy in there all the time, and that's exactly what Sean Hannity would like to deal with. He doesn't want to deal with the soft-spoken but very articulate, very intelligent woman's voice. That's hard for him to deal with. And so I totally salute that. The other one is just the same way as the Heritage Foundation. When you walked up in there and said, look, you guys are talking about Muslims. How come there are no Muslims there? And that's the same thing you're doing at Fox, is that you're bringing in that Muslim voice that needs to be heard into an environment where it's not being heard, where they're not listening to it.
Exactly.
And now
they're all talking about Islam, and either it's former Muslims talking about it or former terrorists talking about it. Like, nobody who actually practices Islam is talking about it. So that's
exactly
what really got me.
And the third thing is that I think that American flag was beautiful because it gave you a platform, and it also reached an audience so much wider than it normally would have. Because you had that American flag on, you were on NPR, you were on CNN with reliable sources. You have been on multiple sources. You have been quoted in gazillions of articles across the globe, because people saw you wearing the American flag. And that was such a cool thing. If I were you, honestly, I would make that your trademark. I know you've kind of gone away from that.
Yeah.
But Rhonda's sitting here doing face palming, and the action to me, because really, honestly, the largest pushback that I saw of you wearing the American flag hijab was within the Arab Muslim community. They seem to be the ones that were most.
It wasn't just Arabs. I think it was a lot of different Muslims, not just Arabs.
Okay,
but
sorry.
You have to think. I mean, from what you've seen,
a lot of Democratic Muslims.
I hang.
Yeah, most of us are.
You know what?
Hello, Bentley.
You know what? But that happened as of late, right? Didn't that?
Well,
that happened post 2001. Because before that. When
the Bush administration came in, the first Bush administration, that's when you saw a lot of drop off of the Republican. And there are a lot of Arabs actually that do vote, specifically Arabs, because they will send in troops overseas to where they think they need some sort of help. Some Iraqis were very happy to vote for Bush because they knew that something was going to happen. So you have that mix. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, Saba is pretty much on point with her views in terms of what Muslims think and what Muslims believe, because
family values,
Republicans and Islam are pretty much hand in hand.
Yes.
Now the people that are the spokespeople for it are not. You don't have, it's hard for me to side with somebody that's going to talk about how crappy I am because I'm a Muslim and I read out of a Quran as opposed to a Bible, which to me is like, what's the difference? They both talk about different things in terms of, horrible things that's going to happen and great things that happen. And the only difference is how they were sent to each prophet, and so when you get to that point, people refuse to realize that every immigrant type of culture, every culture that is immigrated here and that are very fresh, they pretty much side with Republicans. But when you have these Republicans talking about how poopy those immigrants are and how horrible and everyone's a terrorist or everyone's a gang member, that's the issue. So I totally love and respect what you've done, but at the same time, I'm thinking, was that very necessary? So we have like a
absolutely that was necessary.
But see, here's the thing:
why do we? Out there.
But Sab is obviously a very smart person. So Sab, listen,
she's going to be the judge.
Sab is going to be Sab is going to be like terrified when we're both done with it.
Sab, you got to come in studio with us sometime.
But you got to listen to this
critical feedback.
But here's the thing, and I think what she did was a great idea. But why is it that we have to, as Muslims or as Arabs or as Pakistanis or Indians or Mexicans or Chinese people, whatever, why does it have to be a huge, bold statement of us, somebody wearing the American flag, as opposed to us just saying, here's what we've done? Her work didn't get quoted until that flag, until that whole big pop of a Muslim wore a flag on Fox News. She was bold and brave. There's a lot of people that we have flags that are in our house. I own 2 American flags. No one's sitting here telling me you're a great American.
I own 2 Palestinian flags.
You own 2 Palestinian flags, exactly. But we're not sitting here being quoted as American. Someone's going to tell me I'm more anti-American as opposed to being American because I'm also proud of my Palestinian heritage.
Look, if it would help promote the show, I'd wear an American flag hijab, okay? Just so you know.
But why is that necessary is a thing. Okay, so here's my question for you, Saba. Why did you think it was necessary to do that? And I know that it's really not the focus of the whole interview, but what was the was the point and the focus of you, or the intent of you wearing that? What did you want to display? Because I think that our listeners and people need to hear why, because I think there's a lot of confusion. And I saw that picture and I'm just like, well, why do we have to do a gimmick? Why do we have to do something that bold to make our point? What's wrong with us being educated? And is it because people do not believe Muslims are smart, or we're intelligent, or we have a voice? Yani, we pay taxes just like you do. You know, Bentley, what's the difference between my tax and your tax?
Let her answer your question.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Saba?
All right. So for me, it was actually a very last-minute decision to wear the headscarf. That was the flag. I took it to wear it on my shoulder on the side, just to show, like, you know, how in Pakistani culture you wear, like, the dupatta, which is, like, just the side sash. And I wear a black scarf usually. That particular day, I was planning to wear a purple scarf. I had a CNN interview right after that, and I wore a purple one. So, I wasn't planning on wearing the flag. It was more a very last-minute decision. I was in the makeup room. I was watching Fox News, and the person who opened the Kelly file that night was blabbing on against Muslims and saying lots of nonsense stuff against Islam. And I was listening to it, and I was like, I just didn't know how to react. Like, I was getting so upset by what he was saying about Islam and Muslim, and I knew I was just going to be going up right after that. And I was just being set up so to show, like, you know. So for me, I had it with me. So, I mean, we were trying out different things. And the week prior to that, I was on the Kelly file in New York, and we were on a panel with a bunch of different people reacting to the GOP debate. And at that panel, I saw one of the ladies was wearing the scarf around her neck. And I thought, like, okay, so I'll take it and I'll wear it either on my neck or, like, shoulder or something. And then while I was watching, so after that, we just tried out different things. And then I just went on. I was like, I just wanted to show my patriotism. And, like, you know, just like other guests on Fox wear usually flag pins or something patriotic. Mm-hmm. I thought I would wear it just to show my Americanism.
A strong...
And then I went on, and, like, you know, it just, I think, made the statement, because people don't associate the hijab per se with Americans. Like, they just think, like, you know, at Bridget Gabriel, she asked me a question, are you American? It's like, I have to answer that every time.
That's
Duh,
sad.
I am.
That's
like,
sad.
what?
That's ignorant. That's everything. I hate that when that goes on.
So, right, but then now it gives me, at least, like, you know, with the scarf, like, they saw the flag, okay, not that it proves my citizenship certificate or anything, but it's like, you know, I'm trying to show I am just as patriotic as you.
It's a visual response to the Islamophobes, and I think it's marvelous, and it does a great job, and where it may not be well received in the Arab and Muslim community, it is well received in the big old WASP boy community.
Well, so Saba, does it annoy you that you have to wear an American flag scarf to deter that, or is it something that does it annoy you that you have to do that? You have to visually show people.
No, I mean, it wasn't even a big deal. It's not like I had to do it or I was going to, it was just like something I decided to do that night. It was not supposed to be, it went viral and people thought it was a big deal, but, like, you know, it was just me wearing something patriotic. It was nothing more than that. The people who did appreciate it most were the people who do wear the headscarf. Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, now everybody's talking about the hijab. As, like, you know, most Americans on Fox News are not talking about the hijab. It's like Islam 101 lesson on Muslim women.
Absolutely. Saba, thank you so much for taking the time to come with us today. Saba Ahmed from the Muslim Republican Coalition. She is the American flag hijab girl. Hijabi girl? Is that the right? Hijabi girl would be the way. But you know what? And you're so much more than that. And I don't mean to demean it down to that. I mean, you're talking about a girl with a bachelor's in electrical engineering. She's got a bachelor's in physics. She went down and got her law degree. So to say
we look forward to talking with Saba more about what she's done
in the community.
Yes, I think we need to have you back on again, Saba, and we'd love to see
you
more
ever in Chicago,
about what you do.
Come join us in the studio, would you please?
Sure, sounds good. Yeah, my sister lives in Chicago, so I'll definitely let you know.
There you go.
You're in here on any Wednesday. Right. You are a welcome guest in here.
All right. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Very great having her on the line with us. And today, again, with the PAC show, we're going to go ahead and go to break here. And when we come back, we're going to have Kristen Simsky with the American Muslims for Palestine.
You're listening to Yahala Voice. Yahala Voice.
أناقتك هي أنت، ومجوهراتك جزء مهم منها. أنت جوهرة تستحقين الجواهر. اختاريها من مجوهرات القدس. مجوهرات القدس تقدم لك كافة أنواع الذهب والمجوهرات. مجوهرات القدس, the largest selection of Middle Eastern jewelry. Buy online securely at alqudsjewelry.com or visit us at 9070 South Harlem Avenue in Bridgeview. We have superb customer service. رقم التليفون 708-233-9508.
Alquds Jewelry. Beauty and glamour.
بشرى سارة إلى أبناء الجالية العربية. شركة FM داش والداش نتورك لديها هذا العرض المغري. الآن فقط 40 قناة عربية و190 قناة أمريكية ولمدة سنة كاملة $55 فقط. التركيب مجانا والأجهزة مجانا. اتصل الآن على 708-665-5123. العرض لمدة محدودة. اشترك بالقنوات العربية $55 واحصل على القنوات الأمريكية مجانا. للاشتراك أو الاستفسار اتصل على FM داش الآن 708-665-5123. الرقم كمان مرة 708-665-5123.
هوم لايف فرنتشر, آخر صيحات الأثاث وكل ما تحتاج من مفروشات. هوم لايف فرنتشر, الأمانة, الأخوة والدقة في المواعيد.
No credit needed to finance. Everyone is approved at Home Life Furniture, 13449 South Cicero Avenue in Crestwood, Illinois, 708-631-3627. Mention Yahala Voice and your delivery is free. Get $200 off when you spend $1,500.
Risha Printing is the best spot for all your printing needs. We specialize in graphic design, banners, channel letters, lighted box signs. Everything from business cards and wedding invitations to t-shirts and car wraps can all be found at Risha. We would like to announce our collaboration with Pristine Line Media Productions, who will provide audio and video services for all occasions, such as weddings, special events, and commercials. Visit our showroom in Bridgeview. Call us at 708-233-6688 to place an order or speak with a Pristine Line representative to learn more about our wedding video packages. For more information, visit trishaprinting.com and pristineline.com.
I will earn my degree.
I will persevere.
I will be unstoppable.
What will you do? Come to Moraine Valley Community College and we'll help you fill in the blank. Moraine Valley is located in Palos Hills, Illinois. Get hands-on training to prepare for today's hottest jobs or earn the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree. Convenient class times and affordable tuition let you reach your personal and professional goals on your schedule and within your budget. Register now at morainevalley.edu and so you can say,
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals. حلويات نابلس. جميع أنواع الحلويات العربية. كنافة, حلاوة جبن, مدلوقة, ليالي لبنان, عش سرايا, حلبة, عوامة, غريبة, هريسة, بقلاوة. حكيت كنافة؟ طبعا كنافة. ومش بس هيك, لا, في حلويات نابلس منجيب الجبنة النابلسية من البلاد كل 45 يوم, وعجينة الكنافة بنعملها هون, مش بس بنشتريها جاهزة زي المحلات التانية. حلويات نابلس على استعداد انهم يعملوا الكنافة قدامك في بيتك او في اي مكان بتختاره لمناسباتك السعيدة. حلويات نابلس, هارلم and 83rd في بريدجفيو, 708-529-3911. حلويات نابلس, تعالوا ذوق طعم البلاد.
Have you been injured in an auto or work-related injury? Have you been diagnosed with a disc herniation or whiplash? Give Dr. Abu Shanab a call at 708-599-9250. Dr. Abu Shanab is the expert you need to care for your injuries in his 2 locations, Bridgeview and Romeoville, 708-599-9250. Introducing Dr. Abu Shanab, a well-known chiropractor who specializes in both auto and work injuries. Call us at 708-599-9250. Call today and say Yahala sent you. 708-599-9250.
Yahala Voice, connecting the Arab voice globally.
And welcome back to Bob and Friends, where the big wasp comes in for his weekly Islamophobia. Apparently, part of the Islamophobia recovery session is DEPCA.
Yes.
Which is being required now by my Palestinian sidekick here. Anyway, on the line with us with the American Muslims for Palestine is the Media Communications Director, Christian Semsky. How are you, Christian?
Semsky, come on.
She just said it for me and I blew it.
Yes, you stink at Polish names.
Kristen Shremsky. There you go.
Kristen, so nice to have you on the line with us, and
How
so nice.
is that?
Hey, by the way, welcome home. You're like living now out on the east, and
you.
you're back in town. That's awesome.
And I'm telling you what, you can't take the Midwest out of the girl, I'm telling you.
There you go.
Just can't.
There you go.
Yep.
And so it's nice to be back. AMP's the conference starts tomorrow, correct?
That's correct.
The annual conference that you have, and it's always on Thanksgiving weekend here. I think it's a great. I've been there for 3 times, and it's absolutely fabulous, and I'm looking forward to this time too. This one is called Reclaiming Our Narrative. Talk to us about that.
Okay, well, thanks so much, by the way, for having me on. Yeah, we're very, very excited about this conference. Actually, right now, registration's up maybe about 20% over last year, and last year we had record crowds, so we're excited. So the Reclaiming Our Narrative comes in because more and more, as you are aware, because I know that you've also do Palestine solidarity work, the movement for Palestine's been growing in the United States over the last several years, and Palestinians are leading this movement more and more and more. And also, AMP's been working so hard to get the Palestinian narrative into the media and into the national discussion. And so this conference is all about that, Palestinian voices, and what does that mean? You know, the Palestinians in diaspora, teaching our youth about the Islamic heritage that they have in Palestine. How do we, as Palestinian Americans, work within the civic engagement process? So it's all these different types of things related to the identity of Palestinians, Palestinian voices leading the movement in the United States, and empowering our youth to work within the system to help bring change to foreign policy, because ultimately that's what AMP wants, is we want a more fair and balanced foreign policy for everybody in the Middle East.
Amen to that. And it's a huge thing. And where people shouldn't also get confused is that this is not just a Muslim-only event. This is you've got Jewish speakers, you've got Christian speakers, this is it's, even though it's American Muslims for Palestine, don't think that it's just a Muslim-only event, because it's not.
Or only Palestinian.
Right, and that's AMP always works very much within coalitions. We're huge about coalitions because there's strength in numbers, and we work across the board with all different types of faith-based and social justice groups. So, Jewish Voice for Peace, American Friends Service Committee, and so forth and so on. There's so many of them. And in addition, we also have some African Americans coming to the conference, both Muslim and from other faiths. We have a Ferguson to Palestine session. Now, this is not really part of the conference, but there is going to be a meeting of African American leaders and Palestinian leaders, kind of a private meeting at the conference, and we're currently reaching out to folks in Chicago to see how AMP can support what's happening, there with the Black Lives Matter movement. So, there are two things. One, there's strength in numbers, so coalitions are really important. B, joint struggle is extremely important, because you cannot work for human rights for one group of people while ignoring it elsewhere.
And that goes back to the Martin Luther King quote that injustice anywhere. You've got to fight it everywhere that it's out there. And
exactly.
You know what? That's so true. And that really is, I mean, if you boil the Palestinian issue down to a human rights and justice issue, there's no doubt which side you have to be on. There's just no doubt.
That's exactly right. Exactly. Like, we always work within international law, American law, and human rights. And those are the issues. And, like, one year, I remember there was a huge protest outside Caterpillar, because Caterpillar,
right.
It was their bulldozer that killed Rachel Corrie, for instance.
Correct.
On our side of the street, you had Jews, Muslims, Christians, and every other, social justice group out there. On the other side, supporting Israel, you had a bunch of old white guys,
right.
People.
You had the Rainbow Coalition on one side, and you had, exactly. You had the pasty white side on the other.
People from Peoria, actually.
Stop.
Don't lose my job. I'm just saying.
But you know what? Yeah, it's in it. But no, you're right. And Caterpillar, Motorola, there's several companies here that are on that BDS list, that are so key. And I love the backlash that BDS is getting, because that tells me how effective it's being. Is there going to be any focus of BDS there at the AMP conference?
Absolutely. We have a couple of BDS sessions. To begin with, we kick off Thursday afternoon with a film screening. And one of the films comes from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network called Enduring Roots. And that's all about how the Jewish National Fund is helping to erase Palestinian history by planting forests on top of the depopulated villages. Yes. So we're showing that film, and then we're going to try to encourage people to start engaging with the Stop JNF campaign. So that campaign, very simply, is trying to get the JNF's tax-exempt status revoked, because what they're doing is breaking American tax law by raising funds and then using it in ways that go against American policy in the Middle East. So that's one thing. And then we do have a larger BDS session, and I think the campus activism track also is handling BDS as well. So in the future, AMP is going to be moving much more into BDS. We've had our date boycott for several years. And now, also this weekend, a very, very important campaign is kicking off, which is to get the United Nations to drop G4S, which is a global security conglomerate. They're complicit in the construction of Israeli prisons and interrogation centers the centers where children are actually detained and abused. So the United Nations uses them very often as their security contractor. There's a huge international effort dropping this weekend. It's involving a petition. There will be rallies outside the United Nations. There's a letter signed by hundreds of organizations going to Ban Ki-moon. So that's also going to be somewhere in the conference. We're going to try to raise awareness about that, get people to sign the petition.
Obviously doing a lot to bring to restore the narrative, which is just exactly what you're talking about. It's Kristen Shimsky with the American Muslims for Palestine. She is the media coordination director, or communication director. And you are now, it starts tomorrow, but can you still register for the conference online, or do you have to do it at the site now?
No, you can still register online. If you go to conference.ampalestine.org, you can register there. You also can register on site. And we have something for everybody. We have the Sanibel Club for young children. We have youth, young adult programs, campus activism track. We have a great entertainment session this year, and we have book signings on Friday morning, I think at 10:15. This is really awesome. There's an open discussion with the Palestinian member of the Knesset, Dr. Ahmed Tibi. He is part of the member of the Arab list. We had him last year as well. But Ahmed Tibi will be there. Jamal Ryan, who's a Al Jazeera anchorman, and Osama Abu Urshaid, our policy director. And the audience, this is an open forum. Audiences members will be able to ask any questions they want.
Wow.
And it's be facilitated by Rafiq Jabber. So it's going to be a really, really, really good session. We also have the former Tunisian president coming, Dr. Mohamed Almar.
He's the keynote speaker, correct?
Almar Zouki. He's one of the keynote speakers, yes.
Okay.
Kristen, is there going to be anything that's going to relate to what's going on now in Chicago with Laquan McDonald and maybe like Black Lives Matter type issues? Because there's been a lot of talk with the Palestinian Solidarity Movement, SJP, stuff like that, have been working with the Black Lives Matter movement. Is there going to be any of that sort of topic this time around?
Yeah, as soon as I hang up with you guys, I actually have a phone call coming up, reaching out to someone from the Black Lives Matter movement through our contact that we're working with who's organizing this meeting with the African American leaders. So to find out, it would be great. I don't know to tell you to what extent what we're going to be able to do from the conference. My ultimate goal, I would love to be able to, take a busload or a couple busloads of people downtown if there's still going to be rallies going on. But we need to talk to the organizers to see how they want us to support. And that phone call's coming up as soon as I'm done with this interview.
That's awesome.
So,
well, Kristen,
and with, Bill Fletcher's going to be there, Kwame Rose from Baltimore. He's the kid who took on Geraldo Rivera during the Baltimore riot.
And he's a young kid, and he's going to be part of a conference or part of a breakout on Saturday morning, right? I think Ferguson, Palestine is going to be in there. So,
yes.
Wow, what a great conference you've put together, as you do every year.
Thank you.
And looking so forward, and I'll look forward to seeing you. I'll be there Saturday, so I'll look forward to seeing you then. And you know what? Thanks for all the work you're doing and putting it out there, Kristen. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on, and we really want to see everybody out there at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare, and it's not too late to register. So it's a great weekend. It's a lot of fun and very educational. So thanks for giving me a chance to talk about it.
Kristen, thanks for coming on. You know what?
Thank you.
AMP, what a great conference. You can go to ampalestine.org. That is American Muslims for Palestine, so it's just ampalestine.org. In there, you'll be able to find the information on the conference, or you could do the conference.ampalestine.org, and that'll take you directly to the conference information.
There you go.
You know what? Every year, it's a great conference. I know there's some pushback on that it's on Thanksgiving weekend, but I think that works out. I know. You can still eat that day, and then in your food coma, go watch the movie that they have in there.
I don't want to fall. That's a good movie. I have to watch that, and that's been actually very popular. That was spreading that. What was it? What was it called? Enduring Roots? Is that what she had said it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about that this past year because it was a big topic with the Israelis planting and.
Trying just to cover it up.
Taking our land one tree at a time, huh?
And trying to cover it up as if it is.
Horrible.
But you know what?
Kinda
it's
like
important
Chicago
for us to
cover-ups.
hear things and get involved. And there's people that find a calling in that kind of thing. And one of our dear friends found a calling. One day she was on the road to Selma in a historical review, and then all of a sudden found herself when she came back leaving the lily white suburb of South Barrington, where she was up in there, and is now down on the west side. We bring on the line with us now is Kim Reuter. Kim, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay. How you doing?
Not bad. Now you are on location, right? You're 41st and Pulaski.
I'm at 41st and Pulaski, just south of the Stevenson. I'm actually in my car because it's very loud. There's semis going by, and there is a prayer vigil that is taking place right now on the site where Laquan was executed. And there's about 100 people or so out right now, and it's a very diverse crowd, African American, Hispanic, white, and when I first pulled up, the Nation of Islam was in the middle of their prayers, which was just amazing too. So,
have they been accommodating? Have the police been accommodating and blocking off that area and blocking that street off?
No, it's the road is still. I mean, the road is still being used. It's just a matter. There's an open space where it's basically a strip mall. So there's an open grassy space. That it's happening. So it's not blocking traffic or anything. It's not a
you're
protest.
on Pulaski, right?
It's just a prayer vigil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to close down
Pulaski.
Stevenson,
so
I watched that video.
But there is a police presence around in some unmarked cruisers that are just they just keep driving by and watching. I think they're just here just to make sure that nothing happens, but there's definitely a police presence here.
Well, and here's my side, is that, and my side is not of anything that's going to happen to you, by being there. My thing is that It's the other people. It's the unknown. It's the outside. It's like what happened in Minnesota. That's the element that bugs me. I mean, and here's the irony of that. When we had friends that ran the Randa piece, literally, when they did the Randa piece, they were worried about cars of people pulling up.
Yeah.
You know, and how they were behaving and how they'd be treating it. That's the same kind of thing I'm worried about here a little bit. But you're saying
you have people
it's
that
all
are going to react
peaceful?
odd.
Okay, but so the reason, you guys said at the beginning that I'm angry. Yes, I'm angry, and I love you, Bob. But those kind of comments frustrate me because of the fact that there are people who live their life with knowing that could happen to them at any time, and that is a 24/7 reality for them. And those are the youth that I work with. That every time they walk out their door, they're harassed by the police. Every time they walk down the street, they don't know if they're going to be stopped and have to go through an illegal search. Like, that is their daily reality. So for me to come to a prayer vigil or for me to go to a protest and get roughed up a little bit, I'll take it. Because I can go home at the end of the day. But the youth that I work with live that every day. And I was out working with clients today, and I was checking in with them and checking in with their families, and there's just such a complacency right now, you know, where I asked them, how are you feeling? They're like, it's just another day for them, right? They don't think anything's going to change. They don't think anything's going to be different. You know, I said, do you want to go protest? They're like, no. It's just a huge level of complacency right now. So,
well, you look at it this way. What's a protest going to do to somebody that has already been going through this every single day? I mean, there's a very big similarity with this situation and with Laquan McDonald and, like I said earlier to Kristen, with the Palestinians. And so you can protest so much. And if nothing's going to change, you just keep getting upset, angrier.
Right.
I mean, but the thing is, I have to admit, I know that feeling. I'm not, obviously I'm not African American, so I don't know exactly what, African Americans go through compared to what Arab Muslims go through. But through every protest, people protest this last year when this did happen. Okay. And it was a peaceful protest. It wasn't as large as it is now, but it was a peaceful protest. I mean, people always are afraid that Chicago's going to go up in flames because Ferguson did and Baltimore did. And, when Rodney King, everything happened to him, LA was just horrible.
Yeah.
But we don't do that because in our situation in Chicago, we see something different. And it's just people are tired of it. And it's not so much, police are coming and whatnot. It's people are just tired of fighting something that it's not going to change after today. I mean, is that the feel that you're getting there? Are there people that are just like, here we are at this vigil, but at the same time, tomorrow's gonna be the same thing over and over?
I do feel that, and this is just a vigil. This is very peaceful. The protests that happened downtown, and I'm sure that'll happen again tonight, and will continue. I think the part that my friends who are very peaceful people, as even before the video was released this week, as I would ask them, how are you feeling about this? They would all just hesitate and be very careful about answering. And then as I would probe, there was a part of them that it was like they weren't quite sure what the reaction was going to be. And for very peaceful people to kind of question how they may react and knowing that they may react in a way that's typically outside of their character because they're just so fed up, to see people who are very calm and peaceful, to just see them get riled up. That's the part that would make me nervous about the city, because when you hold people down so long, at some point they're going to bust. And I think, but it's a combination of the two. It's like people who you saw in the protests last night, people getting upset, people, getting ready to bust. And then at the same time, you've got people who are like, so I think you see both sides of it. I'm waiting to see what Friday will hold. I believe there is protests being planned for Friday to go down Michigan Avenue to disrupt the Black Friday shopping sprees.
Correct.
And I think that will be a huge movement. I think that will be a place where the entire city can kind of gather together and really make an impact. So I will be there on Friday for sure.
Are you worried about the PR blowback of Black Friday and Black Friday? You see what I'm saying? Are you worried?
No, because they did the same thing they used that same thing in Ferguson last Thanksgiving. So it's already been there, done that. So
okay. I didn't know because I mean it could create a negative connotation or blowback on there and that you wouldn't want. But
well, there's already a negative connotation. You're going to have those people that are just like, oh, look at the people rioting. There was no riots yesterday. It was a few people got arrested just because they didn't, do what the cops wanted them to do. And towards the end of the night, when the cops were tired of patrolling, they started dragging people out of the streets, literally dragging them. I remember having this conversation with Kim actually last night. And they were dragging them out of the streets just because they were just tired of the whole thing. But you look, and I think a lot of people are busy comparing us with Ferguson, with, this city, that city. I mean, there's a big difference. And I think people right now, especially when you say that there's going to be a protest on Friday, I mean, I think people are just gathering up for the worst. And when I say people, I mean people that aren't protesting, because you're going to have the two sides.
Right.
These people that are rioting should probably be shot. Or these people, what do they have to complain about? They voted for these people, or they get equal rights just like we do. They messed up their own lives. A cop should know when someone is high on PCP, because that's Laquan McDonald was high on PCP, and they should know not to sit there and shoot him, especially if they're walking away.
The first guys didn't. The first guys knew better.
Only that cop shot Laquan. It was only him.
Yep.
It was only him, and it was 16 times, and most of the shots were done when he was on the ground. I mean, the video shows that.
First 2 seconds he falls. The next 13 he's on the ground.
He's on the ground and just ricocheting bullets. I mean, and so it's just a matter of it. I think a lot of people on the outside of this, that people that don't experience
how that takes 14 months though to get him charged. I don't understand.
This is Chicago. Okay, why is everyone so surprised?
But the other side of that, as we've talked about, if that video comes out while Rahm Emanuel's in the middle of his campaign, the outcome of the election with him and Chewy is totally different.
You know what nobody focused on in that election?
Chewy's here.
Oh, is he?
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I just saw, I was like, oh, they just pulled up somebody to interview. And I was like, oh, that's Chewy. And I was like I was standing out there going, that guy looks familiar. And now I realized,
that's Chewy Garcia.
But no, Chewy's here. They're interviewing,
But see, now here's the thing, though. You have all these.
Go ahead, Kim.
Going back to the whole, the Black Friday and how that's used and all that, the African American community is owning that. Like, they are the ones calling that out to be Black Friday, to make a statement out of that.
Good.
They've been calling it out all week, even before this was let's take back Black Friday. So Black Lives Matter is a huge movement, and it is the most organized movement since the Civil Rights era.
Wow.
And so
for the African American community, wow, that's awesome.
Social media,
as far as this is the most organized, put together movement since the Civil Rights era. And so getting behind the Black Lives Matter movement is what we all need to be doing. And the one thing we need to stop doing is trying to combat Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter. We all know that every single life matters. That is not the point of Black Lives Matter. The thing is society is set up that white lives matter.
Look,
Black Lives Matter is not saying that you don't matter. It's saying that, can you just please make sure that we matter also?
All you have to do to shut up an All Lives Matter person is ask them about Syrian refugees. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, no. We've got conditions on that All Lives Matter thing.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's All Lives Matter stems from the people that just don't understand the black struggle. That's all it is.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
And it's not that your life doesn't matter. It's that your life matters all the time. We're just trying to get the same recognition. And by we is not me, but I'm speaking for the black community.
All right.
So,
let's say that you have this magical power, that we elect Kim Ruder president and queen of the United States of America, and she has all rights. We give you a magic wand to fix everything. What does it take to fix the situation we're in now?
Oh gosh, there's not one answer to that, but let's see.
Oh man.
Where should I begin?
Ouch, that hurts me. I can't answer that. Just gas the whole world and kill all the problems.
You know what?
Why don't we
ding
Hitler
ding
the
Noah.
whole world.
Go back to Noah's Ark.
Just
No,
Hitler
that's
the
not
whole
working.
world.
That's not working.
Well, it worked at the time.
So I'll just talk from the criminal justice system. Let me just talk, since that is what we're kind of focusing on right now with Laquan. Just in the criminal justice system, a couple of things. One, I think we should legalize marijuana. Most of the drug busts that we get are on marijuana possession, small, nonviolent criminal offenses. And then instead of locking people up who are in possession or using those drugs, to spend more time and more money and resources towards treatment for substance abuse than locking people up. There's that. We need to be more, we say restorative in the way that we work with people instead of, making sure that the sentences, we give them opportunities for rehabilitation. That's my biggest concern is I work with young men who are on probation in the juvenile system. And as I'm continuing to work with them, the system is trying to lock them up, to catch them on a violation, to get them sent away. And so it's more of saying, you know what, we've got some people who are in crisis, who are in trauma, who it's systematic trauma over trauma, generation after generation. You got to give me some time to work with them. You got to give me some time to get them on the right path. And so we have to be more gracious and loving with our communities and those who are doing wrong and help steer them instead of just locking them up and throwing them away, because that just shows that you don't value them, that they're not important. And we all know that they are.
And that is so true. I mean, it's got to be on both sides a little bit here too. It's got to come from within inside that they recognize or feel as if their life matters. And that's what's got to happen. And I'm sorry, but if we elect a Trump or if we elect it's somebody on that side of the aisle.
No one's life matters.
Yeah, you know what? I just
don't. It's their life that matters.
I don't hear them saying that, and that's very sad.
Right.
It's very unfortunate because
right.
we've got to get there. Kim,
and Bob, you asked me last night, just real quick, you asked me last night, what are the demands of the protesters?
Yeah.
And the demands of the protesters are resignations. We want the mayor to resign. We want McCarthy to resign. We want Anita Alvarez to resign. And just as a little political plug, Kim Foxx is running for state's attorney come this next election, and she is the complete opposite of Anita Alvarez and could actually be critical to transform the state's attorney's office. And she is about restorative justice. And so if you are in the city of Chicago, if you are in Cook County, whatever you can do to vote for Kim Foxx this next time around, change the system with your vote.
Vote for Kim.
Not Rudy.
Yes.
Hey, it's vote for Kim. I like that. Kim, I appreciate it. Where am I meeting you?
I'm not sure yet.
All right, text me because I'm coming down, all right?
Mr. Bob is going down to the south side. He's in a protest today. On location,
I think we'll go downtown to Michigan Avenue. I'm assuming I'll do some research. I'll let you know, but I'm thinking Michigan Avenue, maybe Michigan and Roosevelt.
There you go.
Might be a good place to start.
Might close it down by Columbia. Those students yesterday were out and about.
Exactly. That's where
nice little voice.
That's where it was all hot last night. So
yes,
I want to go back.
Okay, so I'm going to head down there after the show. If it's any different, you text me there. And then, hey, I really would like you to be my guest if you can make it on Saturday morning. Now you've got other stuff going, don't you? Typically on Saturday.
Why do you make your plans off the air?
Thanksgiving on Saturday.
You know what? I kind of
Why do you make your plans off your air? You know, nobody wants to hear your business.
Wait a minute, I think I just got the RBO.
I just got no invite to anything, really.
I just got royally blown up.
Because I am so insulted. Nobody insulted me and invited me anywhere on Saturday morning. He's like, oh, Kim, you're so fantastic. Rhonda's next to me, but she smells like poop. So we're going to hang out on Saturday. Yum, yum, yum.
You know, I got busted.
I already have plans for Saturday. Sorry.
Well, there you go. That's plan B strikes out again. All right. So anyway, thanks, Kim. And you know what? Keep us posted on that stuff down there. I love reading your Facebook updates and going on there. And thanks for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And love you, kiddo. Be safe, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Be safe,
Okay,
Kim.
I will.
All right.
Bye. Bye, Randa.
Bye-bye, Kim. Hey, we didn't ask her how to pronounce her last name.
Ruta.
I don't know. I'm not German.
Actually, we should have asked Nadia how to pronounce it. She's the official German. Nadia?
Who's Nadia?
Of the Penguins.
Oh, well, you got to help me out here.
Our real German.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Our true German. Well, actually, she's a Saudi German. But
she's a Saudi German.
Yeah, how does that happen?
She's a Saudi who moved to Germany.
Well, that could be.
Oh, how can I be a Palestinian American?
You know what? We got
was born
Jeeves
here.
out in the turkey kitchen.
Yes, we do.
Out in California.
We do. We have some people
we
here.
We had a man out in the UK somewhere. We might have Nadia out in Germany. Yeah, you just know Stephanie. Stephanie might be listening in from the terror.
Eman was
from
in
Palestine.
In England. Yeah, Stephanie. Well, Stephanie's not back.
You know what? She's
coming
back soon.
You know, you got to tell everybody what the heck you're talking about because everyone's like,
just
who are these
friends.
people?
That's all they need to know.
Just friends, and they're all women.
Friends.
They're all women.
Isn't that wild?
What is wrong with you? What is going on here?
You know what? I always get
we need to
questioned
get you
on that.
to have. We need to find somebody to put a ring on it. Mind you, okay, I tried.
Who's that song?
Beyonce. Come on, really? Oh gosh, she's old and not hip. Help me, God.
You know what? She's young enough to be my daughter, so ease up on that old stuff.
Who cares? You know, the Trixie thing. Forget it. No,
right.
That's the wrong show. We can't talk about that. Can't talk about it.
Yeah. No, it's just, you know, it's the woman's voice that I was saying before and saying earlier.
Yeah, because we're awesome.
It is. But it's the woman's voice that has the ability to cut through where the guy's voice can't.
Well, because you have rhyme and reason. I mean, look at it this way. The man is always the face of everything, okay? Whatever topic it is, there's always a man there. Who's running for mayor? Men. Who's sitting there? Who's our governor? Men. Who's our president? Men. I mean, a man is always a leader, so it's nice to have a woman, maybe even an angry woman. And I don't think even Kim showed her anger as much because she was, you know, being polite on the phone.
Absolutely.
But she was a lot angrier than she made you all think. I'll tell you that right now, just in talking with her the past couple of days of whatever was going on with Laquan McDonald, she was very angry, and she still is. We all are.
It's raw.
And it's just, at some point, it's, you get tired of hearing the same voice, which is a man's voice. It's like hearing a white man's voice sometimes. You know what? The white man just doesn't represent our country. The, you know, immigrant from Mexico doesn't only represent our country. The black man only doesn't represent our country. But why don't we have a woman? Because you know what? A woman also represents our country more than one race does. Because a woman has always been the one that's been spat on from day one.
You're absolutely right. But it's also the woman's voice who a man
is afraid of.
No, but it tells me the character of a man. Because
oh gosh, you sound very sultry right now.
Too. I mean this though.
It tells me the character.
It does tell me. You know how some people say that how a person treats a waitstaff.
Yeah,
will tell you a lot about his character.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Mine is how a guy treats a woman. Tells me,
of course,
what I need to know.
It's one of the many things that you have to.
Right.
If you got a guy going to Hooters every day because he just likes seeing the serving staff, and let's just say, I mean, 99% of them are women, scantily clad, just kind of shows like, okay.
Huh. Yeah.
So Bentley's going to find a new place to eat now.
Yeah. There goes that. I really like the wings, for God's sake. No.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No. As people know, I get along great with my waitstaff. My waitstaff knows me wherever I go. I have like
true.
this. I have my favorites. I pick my favorites, and I'll go to whether it's Giordano's, whether it's Buffalo Wings and More, you know, wherever it is, Scotty. Oh, yeah. They absolutely.
That explains the weight.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
Speaking of weight, how has been your training? How is your training?
Bad.
For Bethlehem.
Bad.
So
it's getting better now.
Monday is 18 weeks.
18 weeks.
Bethlehem Marathon.
Oh, you know what? The one thing I'm glad for is Faletti has been so busy. Bill Faletti has been so busy.
A runner friend, by the way. That's who that is.
He hasn't been on me for running.
Looks like Randa will be.
Daily, he's kind of guy that usually wants you to respond daily.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with Ali and how he responded.
Another
to that.
friend of ours.
Yeah.
You got to let people know.
Had a friend who started running program and got into it totally.
Yep.
and has gone into it full blown, and God bless him. I mean, you hear it in how he's changed. And so, he's excited.
He's been doing pretty good.
Yeah, now he's doing running and lifting.
Yes.
After
I heart CrossFit. I think
into
that's
his
great.
3 minutes. You do CrossFit?
Yeah, I do CrossFit. That's why I'm kind of looking like a bulky person now. It's a horrible thing.
Were you doing that to get in shape for the wedding?
Yeah, I lost some weight, and then I went on vacation and gained it all back. So that
Oh
was
my
great.
God! I can only imagine that the Belize just kind of hanging around out in the jungle.
We were on the
hot,
beach and in
sweaty
the jungle. We were all over. Don't give your listeners too much. Listen to my honeymoon, okay? The hot, sweaty jungle.
Well, that's
Hey, bye,
yeah.
Come on now.
The jungle. Yeah, right. I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to go to the jungle.
Well, it was pretty cool. I'm in the Midwest. Why not go to the jungle? I mean, my husband decided that we're going to do a vacation for both of us. And it was going to be, I should say honeymoon. People yell at me, why don't you call it a honeymoon? Because it's kind of weird. It's the vacation, You're
a married woman.
Whatever. Yeah. Get out of here. So we went to the beach because I like the beach for a week. And then we went to the jungle because when are we going to go to the jungle again? It's pretty awesome. There weren't any lions or tigers or bears coming after us. So we were fine. And we got to see some cool little lizards, a Jesus lizard, a lizard that stands on his hind legs.
Yes, and runs.
Yeah, and
on
runs.
The water.
We got to see. We didn't see him, running on the water, so there were no miracles, no water into wine thing.
Okay.
But, we saw some toucans from a distance. So.
As in Toucan Sam?
Toucan Sam, like Fruit Loops.
Wow.
Very, very far away. I was upset that I didn't see them up close, but we went, it's very nice to do something out of your element, and I'm gonna really, right. I wanted to prepare him because in a few months we're gonna go to Palestine and he's gonna really feel out of his element.
18 weeks, as you say.
In 18 weeks we're gonna be there actually in 17 because I plan on being there earlier. So poor guy, exactly. He is a, poor fella. He doesn't know what to expect.
He's going to, Sosby is going to, you're going to go, you've got some event planned with him. You're going to his house and doing something.
Oh gosh. So I always threaten him that I'm going to throw a frozen party at his house for his daughter, his youngest daughter. And he had said to me last year, no, you're not doing this. And I told me he moved and I said, I'm going to find him and stalk him and his daughter and I, Jen and I will enjoy our little frozen party. So
his daughter is just
she's
wonderful.
A doll. She's a doll.
As he refers to her, I think she's his translator, and I mean she's like everything. She reads Arabic. She obviously
Poor girl.
is very
I feel
bilingual.
bad for her. Steve Sosby's her dad.
Steve's
I rip him a new one. He's a great person,
peeps,
obviously.
Man. Good peeps. Sorry that he's a Cleveland fan, but nevertheless, he's still good people.
But he will be running that with us hopefully soon. So.
Yeah, and going in there. So what's in your schedule? What do you guys got going? You doing a big Thanksgiving dinner?
We have a family over for Thanksgiving. Or no, I'm sorry, we're going over family's house for Thanksgiving. So this will be the first.
Right, you do a first married.
It'll be the first official married Thanksgiving with the Polish family. So then I'm bringing my family, which is very small, my mom and my brother, and it'll officially be Polish-Stinian family.
That
gathering
is awesome
on Thanksgiving.
That is awesome.
So a bunch of immigrants from Poland and England and Palestine and Americans in one big house. So take that.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. And oh my gosh, a good friend of mine was half Polish, half Italian. And I swear to you, I couldn't
That's
wait.
A scary mix.
I couldn't wait to finish our dinner in back in high school. In college, because then I would run to their house.
To their house and
because
the craziness.
Oh my God, they did it up.
Oh, it's huge. It's big.
And huge. And the mom was Polish. And so she had learned the Italian cooking.
Oh boy.
The other side of it. But so it wasn't really her forte, but the Polish stuff,
Oh yeah.
Boy,
But the Poles are very generous with their food in terms of like the amount of food they cook and all the dishes. They're not cooking like 2 or 3 dishes. They're cooking 9, 10, 11 dishes besides the turkey. There's all these sides with it. So, I feel like it's an Arab home with more dill and sauerkraut and mushrooms.
It's good eating. That's
what about
all
you,
it is.
mister? I just got ganked by Kim. She didn't want to plan anything with
Yeah,
me on Saturday.
nothing going on Saturday. She's got plans, I guess. Okay, whatever.
Well, you are invited to the Polish-Stinian home if you don't have anything to do.
I got
Thanksgiving.
I got to rewind. No. Thank you. That is so
there
nice of you.
See? So don't
I
say
really
I'm not nice
appreciate
to you.
that.
To you.
I really do. No, I'm
going to revoke that invite actually when we get off the air. By the way, just because
that was just an on-air invite.
It was just an on-air invite.
It's kind of like an air kiss, kiss. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but no, I've got family and friends that we're getting together
well,
with.
That's nice.
But my sister, I love what my sister does. She has like a rewind. So Saturday is like Thanksgiving part 2.
Okay.
It's like you get the day off and then you get the Thanksgiving again on Saturday. Right.
Or protest. Either or.
Either way.
Do.
Either way.
There's many options for you in Chicago, apparently.
This year it's the place of options, no doubt. And sometimes I think they'd be better off. It's weird. Instead of trying to go through all of Chicago, and I'm not saying they did, if they went to like Naperville.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, what is it going to tell you?
Naperville.
Well, okay, see, and that's the thing. To get back into that whole issue, you have all of these affluent white neighborhoods, and that's where a lot of these Republican
the white flight,
the white flight, and you have a lot of these Republican party supporters in those neighborhoods, especially DuPage County. I mean, it's run by that. There's a lot of racism going on, and there's a lot, especially after Section 8 moved into the suburbs. It was a very big deal. Racism was a very big deal in terms of, here we get these kind of black people moving in, because everyone is slightly afraid to say, well, black people are moving in or African Americans are moving in. They're like, oh, well, those African Americans are moving in because they're from the South Side. It's like, well, what's it? You can't tell the difference between an African American on the South Side or an African American on the North Side. I mean, there was that girl from Evanston who was in Englewood. She was 20 years old. She won that top modeling. She won that modeling contest with Mario Tricoci, and she got gunned down the day after Tyshawn Lee got gunned down. And, she was a North Sider. She was in Evanston, affluent area. She was a very smart girl, and she got gunned down. And there wasn't much, there wasn't much of story on her because she was just another black girl on the South Side. Just like Tyshawn Lee, everyone was very upset about Tyshawn Lee where they need to be because he was 9 years old, who got executed by God knows who.
Horrible.
But at the same time, people are like, well, that's another black person. You read now, look at the Chicago Tribune, for example. You still have in the wake of these, of the articles here, you see, Laquan McDonald and the protests that are going on. And I think the media is hyping it up way overboard in terms of watch out what might happen. Dangerous things may happen, as opposed to saying these people are angry. Here's why they're angry. They're saying, look at these people that are arrested. How many people are arrested here? And this is what they're saying. And they're swearing at police, and police are swearing at them back. Right. But on the bottom corner, you'll see four wounded overnight, 1 fatally killed. I mean, and it's just a minute little detail, which is not being played up because everyone's just like, okay. Another one that died in the South Side or the West Side. I mean, there's... And now to the Tribune's defense, a few years ago, and this goes back, they did a whole entire year focused on killing our children. Yeah. And had made every death of every child front page news above the fold. Every one of them. Yeah. And I don't know what real difference that made. I don't know... But, well, you have the awareness of people that are in Naperville or Bartlett or Berwyn or, Highwood, of letting them know what's going on, because really, what does it matter to them if there's a 10-year-old that died on 41st and Pulaski? What does it matter to them that somebody got shot on 131st and Damon? What does it matter to them that someone got shot on State and Jackson? I mean, State and Jackson, that's where they're going to say, hold on a second, because that's a downtown area. That's a business bustling area. That's an area that they're going to go into if they work downtown. That's DePaul University is there. Right. That's right there. It's in the middle of the loop. And that's where people are going to be afraid, or people are going to want to do something, as opposed to the South Side, where a lot of people go, well, they kill each other. I mean, that's what you hear. That's what you hear. And a lot of those people in those suburbs that you were mentioning, I'm totally now I'm getting rah, Yeah, yeah. Cause that's good. That's good. Sorry, listeners. But I mean, those people that we need to protest, where you said in the suburbs and whatnot, that's where it needs to be heard. And at the same time, what good is that going to do if it's still Chicago cops are the ones that are killing? I mean, that's a great point. You know what I mean? That's a great point. What message is that going to tell people in Naperville? There are two different messages here that I want out. And the one is that the one
going against the Chicago city system, the way it's set up.
Which has always been corrupt. I don't know why that's so new
But
to people.
I will say this. Driving while black in Naperville
is
a crime.
It is.
I mean, statistically, it's shown that if you're a person of color driving out there, you're going to get pulled over.
Yeah, because what are you doing here?
I think
you belong in Aurora, boy. That's basically what's going to happen.
2-1 or 3-1
yeah.
in there. But you know what? So that kind of thing also has to be there. So, I mean, that's a racial prejudice within that system.
There was a huge deal when Naperville wanted to, or it was proposed to them to bring Section 8 to Naperville, and the mayor made a huge deal about it. And it was like 2 years ago. And, don't quote me on the amount of time. I'm so pointless.
It goes
quickly.
So quack.
But so quack. Yeah, it is a bunch of quack.
Yeah, it is.
But
so quickly. Yes.
But it's, the mayor and trustees made it a big point to say, no, we don't want these people here. And that term, these people was suddenly being interchanged with drug addicts and, thugs and gang members.
Right.
Not everyone on Section 8 is a thug, is a gang member. I'm going to tell you right now that there's a lot of people in the Arab American community that are on welfare checks, that are using those link cards, and they're certainly not thugs and gangsters and this and that. But when you say welfare, you think black, because that's unfortunately what everybody in our media is portraying. So I think our media is not helping us, especially with this Black Lives Matter deal, in terms of in Chicago at least, because they're frightening all of us. They're frightening the people in different suburbs.
Yeah, and you're right. And there's a phobia that's out there, and it's being used for political gain.
Yeah.
You are seeing Trump use that for his gain. You are seeing the GOP use that as their, oh no. And as Kim was saying, it's not the Black Lives Matter, it's all lives matter. And I get how that is just fingernails on a chalkboard.
It is.
It is just the.
Yeah, if all lives mattered, why are these black kids getting killed?
Exactly.
Don't tell me all lives matter if you're going to sit there and get mad at people protesting because a black boy got shot.
If you believe
whether he was drunk or not. Okay, see, I'm getting
No, but you're right. You're right. But my point is that if you believe the all lives matter, then you should be at 41st and Pulaski right now.
You should be there.
Because that kid was executed. Mm-hmm. There is no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
And furthermore, the cops went to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
They went to the Burger King to bury the videos that they had on their security system. They have gone to great lengths to make sure that this video didn't get out and that the officer didn't get charged and put on desk duty.
And if you noticed, I sent this to you yesterday, the other policeman, he was the off-duty detective, Dante Seville or Andre Seville, what was his name? Dante Seville. He was acquitted of charges when he shot a 22-year-old woman in the car.
Right.
She was black. She was unarmed. And there was really no point to him doing that. It was more of she was causing some ruckus according to him, and he just shot her and she was unarmed and there was no reason for it and killed her. And he was acquitted of charges just recently. Yet today, even though he was acquitted, he should have been fired long time ago. Not today, yesterday, when all of this happened, he got fired. Now you tell me something. There's not a big cover up going on in the Chicago Police Department or in the government buildings there. I mean, are you afraid of yourself right now, of what's going to happen to you because you let this racist murderer go out and kill somebody off duty or not?
They're talking, this is unfortunate, because if you think that all cops are bad, you're falling into that trap of thinking, much like thinking like all Arabs are terrorists.
Yeah, and it's totally not true.
Right,
I mean, there's a lot of Arab Americans that are cops and that do quite well for themselves.
They're police all over, and they're good cops. They're good. There are a lot of good people.
There's a lot of great cops.
There are bad apples too, and there's a system that tends to evaluate, or profile. I mean, they just naturally profile against them. So, I mean, we've got to bring these things to light, and I think that's what's happening here with this unfortunate event and Laquan McDonald, the injustice within our justice system that needs to be corrected.
Yes.
The corruption that needs to be rooted out. And it goes from the judges on down. And I salute the judge for saying that this video needed to be released and that it was time for this video to be released.
His parents didn't want that video released, by the way. What was the point of that?
Of releasing the video?
Of releasing the video. His parents, Laquan's parents did not want that video released. Do you want to see your son get shot down all over the internet?
There was no charge against him until the video said it was going to be released.
Yes, but...
And then guess what? All of a sudden, boom.
Boom, all the charges. Well, that's when he gave himself up. He was going to go to trial.
No. There was nothing. Nothing was going on. They weren't moving forward. They were sitting on it. It was very stagnant. Nothing was happening on there. And so... Yeah, and
because it's evidence. You got to look at it this way. Think about it logically. That's evidence right there showing you what's going on. It shows that you shot it, and if a proper ballistics report was done,
but here's the
you should have seen from what gun it was coming from.
He had 16 bullets out of one gun. They had to stop him from reloading, for God's sake.
Yes.
There's going to be other freedom of information that's going to bring the other cameras out from the other cars. Mm-hmm. Maybe one of them had the volume on. This guy had his volume down or didn't have the volume on it. There's going to be... I think that Burger King videos will turn back up again.
I think it was erased.
So you're going to see what the other guys.
Enough Law and Order SVU or Chicago PD.
You're going to see what these other guys were doing.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's important too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What were they doing? Why didn't they come forward?
Mm-hmm.
They are no different than
who's the
9-year-old? Who's the 9-year-old?
Tyshawn Lee.
Tyshawn Lee. That is no different than Tyshawn Lee. And what happened with Tyshawn Lee going in there. So, I mean, it really is a sad situation. And
it's
hopefully we're all going to get enlightened, if you will.
I have to say,
hopefully on the other side, I do think, Rush, jump on with us, buddy. You just called in. How are you, man?
First of all, please, you're the guy that just was talking right now just insulted me. I don't appreciate that.
It's not Rush.
I'm going to call this show again.
You know what? That was Khaled.
Hey, Frankie, how you doing? Yeah, that's Khaled's fault. He called you Rush.
Yeah. So
Yalla, you got less than a minute, so.
It's all yours, man. Take it.
Listen, look, I looked at the video for that last one that they just aired that the parents didn't want them, but I didn't. When the cops tell you to stop, you need to stop, man. It's like they don't know what you have in your pocket, and what do you expect them to do?
He was actually wielding the knife. The knife was on the video.
I see some videos that, oh my God, this cop is wrong. But man, there's a lot out there that people are using against the police officers. I'm like, man, he said stop.
Yeah, but he was also walking away from them, Frank.
So 16 shots. How many of the 16 shots were
expensive? Yeah, but you also have 20 cops sitting there, so every cop's not going to wait for the other cop to shoot.
No, one cop shot.
The cops are trained.
One cop shot
16 times.
One cop shot 16 times.
Not another guy shot.
Frankie, افتح التلفزيون. Watch the TV, man. It's all over the place. It is all over. This guy shot 16 times.
I didn't hear one cop.
It took two.
Frank, other guy, another cop had to stop him from reloading.
Yeah. And even if he was, listen, even if his hands were in the pocket or not.
Wait a minute, leave it there. Mic drop. Let's walk off. Frank, love you. You know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't we just say you were Rush that called in just then and didn't know what was going on?
No. Don't ever insult Frank like that again.
I just, to be honest with you, I just saw, well, you know what? I don't know if Rush would have done any better than me, but anyway, I just saw the video, so all I saw.
Yeah, because you don't see, you're right, because it goes over to just the kid alone and you don't see who's shooting. Yeah, but it's only one cop, so it's really bad news. Hey, love you, man. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for checking in with us. I really appreciate it. Khaled, Randa, thank you so much for stopping in.
Thank you, Bentley.
Kristen and Kim and Saba. Saba was wonderful in calling in, and all the folks here at Yahala. You know what? My weekly therapy is coming to a close here. I really appreciate it very much, and as always, Yahala Voice is great to us. Randa, thanks.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week.
I applaud all of you for listening.
I'm Bob and Friends.
على عود الياب بس نرفع علم على عود الياب بين غسلنا
You're listening to Yahala Voice.